Welcome, everybody, to the very first episode of the One of One Cards show. My name is Luke, and I will be your host. This is the very first episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 2025 Topps Chrome WWE set. And this particular set has a lot to prove because after a 3-year, very successful run from Panini, where WWE cards saw a whole new wave and level of popularity, Topps is coming back with their first line of cards since 2021. So one of the big things that we're going to be looking at today is just what do I think of this particular set? How good is it? And where do we think it's going to be headed in the coming weeks and years? So as you can see, there's multiple different ways that you could purchase the boxes and the cards in the WWE Chrome set. You can see they have blaster boxes going for about $38. You can see mega boxes going for about $82, and you can see the hobby boxes going for about $315. So they are clearly selling pretty well right now. The very first thing that we see over here is the base set. Now, the base set was revealed in around late December, and the big thing that I noticed is that you can see that the photos have like kind of a tilted vibe to them. You can see the CM Punk, that's the very base card over there on the left. You can see Cody Rhodes with a parallel, and you can see Tiffany Stratton as well with a parallel. I think that this particular card is pretty solid. I think that the tilt kind of throws it off a little bit. The one thing I will say, though, and this is probably a common thread throughout every single card set that's being released in the last 10 or so years, is that there are just many parallels. As you can see, it works its way from refractors. You can see neon green and black refractors, all the way through to the frozen fractors, which are out of -5, red refractors out of 5, and the one-of-one super fractors. So there's a whole bunch of different parallels that exist. Some of them look very good. Some of them, you might question why they decided to put them in. And you can also see over there that there's some that are breaker only, some that are mega box only. So if you want that specific parallel, you might want to consider just getting them on eBay or another place where you can buy cards. One big thing that we see is that many of the wrestlers have a lot of image variations. That's something that you want to be on the lookout on. You can see Becky Lynch over here has many different image variations. On the left hand, you can see the base. Well, that's the refractor version of it, but the base card. But she has many different image variations. So many of the wrestlers have a lot of parallels when it comes to the image variations. And you might say to yourself, if you go on eBay, you might see a one-of-one Becky Lynch superfractor or a John Cena or Hulk Hogan superfractor. There's a lot of superfractor one-of-ones for these wrestlers in this set. So please be aware of that. One thing I've noticed, particularly for some of the wrestlers who I like, at least you get Becky Lynch and you can see Alexa Bliss, is that some of the particular cards in this set have images that are very close to images that have already been used very recently, where it's almost like they took the next photo in the camera roll and decided to roll with that. So look at that Alexa Bliss card. It's like basically the same exact thing. And then Becky Lynch, it's like a head tilt going from Select from 2024 to the Topps Chrome for 2025. When it comes to autographs, there are many different autographs that are offered. There's the base autograph, which looks pretty good, I think. Base autograph looks pretty solid. I would say there's the NXT autographs. There are some additional autographs, but I would say the standout autograph for me personally would be the main event autographs. Now, granted, that's the Roman Reigns main event superfractor right there for the autograph, but I think that looks exceptionally strong of a card right there. It's probably going to be one of the most expensive cards, I would say, in the entire set. One big thing about the Topps Chrome set is that this is the first time since 1998 that The Rock has had an autograph in an official WWE set. So you can see some of the particular autographs. Probably the biggest card right there has been pulled, which was The Rock's final boss one-of-one superfractor. It would be interesting to see if that actually goes for above 100,000 or so. I don't know. It will be very fascinating to see because he's had some Panini cards, particularly the 2022 Panini Prism Black Prism one-of-one that sold for over $100,000. We'll see if that final boss card will as well. It's important to note that The Rock does have some Leaf stickers that he signed for 2024 that's featured in some of the set, some particular set. The Leaf Metal Legends Wrestling Quad Auto, but he signed it as Dwayne Johnson, not The Rock. And you can see over there on the bottom, there is another example of a Rock card or Dwayne Johnson card wrestling below. There's a lot of inserts and case hits for this particular set. We can see the Allen and Ginter card. Looks okay. If you are familiar with Allen and Ginter, kind of harkens back to the particular Allen and Ginter cards from the late 1800s. I think it looks fine. The 1985 design insert as well looks pretty solid. If you like the 1985 set, which is a very iconic wrestling set from Topps, looks pretty solid. Then we have the Hall of Fame or embedded particular card. I think that looks okay. It's just mostly the wrestlers dressed up from their Hall of Fame speeches that they gave. We see the Family Tree set. I think I like the design, but I don't necessarily know if it works with professional wrestling cards. Just my opinion. I would say one of the biggest insert or case hits is the Feel the Pop card. It definitely has a comic book Kaboom-esque style going for it. And you can see that Jey Uso card. I would say that is definitely one of the stronger hits in all of the Topps Chrome set. Headshots. I don't necessarily mind it. I know a lot of people make a lot of jokes about it, saying that it kind of reminds them of like a Mount Rushmore in terms of how the heads are just staying there, just in the middle of the card. It's just kind of floating in the air. Again, I don't mind it. I also don't love it either. The Helix, it seems like it's Topps's version of the Color Blast that Panini puts out. Again, the Helix looks okay. I don't think it compares anywhere near as good as the Color Blast. You can see Charlotte Flair right there. This was a particular card that was also introduced in the Topps baseball sets as well. It's okay. I don't think it stands out as much as it should for some reason. We have the Let's Go, which was also featured in some of the Topps baseball products and some other products as well from Topps. I think that I have grown to like a lot more after seeing it more and more. The Mania case hit, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think it is something that stands out as a card that would be in the couple $100 range. I'm personally just not seeing it. It doesn't look bad, but it's not something that really stands out to me and looks like it's worth a lot of money. We can see the Paradigm. I actually think it's an interesting card. I think that some people will like the Paradigm font. Some people will not. It kind of has like an edgy, almost late 90s vibe to it. I think it's an interesting card, one of the more underrated inserts and case hits in the particular set. Another one is the Persona card. I think it looks okay. You can see the Eddie Guerrero. It says Viva La Raza in the background. It's a nice card, but it's also just not something that looks like it's worth a ton when you were to compare that to the Color Wheel or Color Blast. A couple others we see. We see Shifting Gears. It's kind of like a before and after of when the wrestler first started to where they are now. I think it looks okay. Slammy. That's okay as well. Not necessarily the biggest fan of. I think it's just fine. And then the tag team, it looks almost like a license plate. You can see the LWO with Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wild. I think it's fine. Nothing that I'm blown away by either. Then there's an enormous insert set, which is the time is now. There are so many John Cena cards in this particular Topps Chrome set. So please be aware. I see lots of cards already popping up that some of these John Cena Superfractor one of one, the time is now going for like $1,000. John Cena has dozens of big cards and one of ones in this set. It seems like it's just a lot. Uh, Again, I think it looks nice. It's a good representation of John Cena's entire career, especially with him retiring soon. The WrestleMania recall, I think, looks okay. Obviously they're using a lot of older wrestlers, and some of the older wrestlers' photos are not necessarily the best. But again, they're fine. And then one that is kind of a mixed bag for me is the Title Town. It looks again look like the late 90s attitude era, like WWF the music volume 2 album cover ish, with the way that the Title Town logo is written. But it just doesn't do a whole lot for me. I don't know why. I feel like it should. Um, then some people were a little mixed as to why WWE, which has dedicated so much time and effort in recent years to making sure that women are on the same level as men when it comes to storylines and being featured everywhere, that they would have a women's division specific insert set. I think it looks pretty good. But it seems as though some people are not a big fan of the particular design elements of it. So my overall grade for the WWE Topps Chrome 2025, the base set itself, I think I would give like a 7.5 out of 10. I don't dislike the design. I'm just not necessarily blown away by it and think it's something that like I need to get every single card from it and collect it. I'm not necessarily one who would have to seek out the specific parallels and stuff that I have to have. Autographs, I think 7.5 out of 10. I think they look fine. There's nothing that blows me away outside of the main event autos, which I think look really good. And I think obviously having The Rock being featured as an autograph, I think looks pretty awesome. In addition to that, the inserts and case hits, cards like the Feel the Pop really do. I'm not. There's a lot that I don't necessarily love, but there are some of the inserts that I do in the case hits that I do like quite a bit. So I'm going to be giving that an 8.0 out of 10. And lastly, as an overall score, I'm going to give it a 7.7 out of 10. I think it's a perfectly good, acceptable set, especially if you're going to be trying to come out, with your very first set since 2021. You want to try to hit the ground running, trying to build an audience. You can see WWE has been putting a lot of effort on TV to advertise the Topps Chrome cards. Fanatics has been doing a lot on social media to try to advertise the cards. So I think they know that there's an audience for these cards. And I think we're going to get better and better with it as it progresses. So what do I like? As we said before, the main event autographs, the Rock autographs, Feel the Pop, Let's Go in Paradigm. What I don't necessarily like is that some of the big hits don't exactly feel like the big hits, as we said, such as the Persona and Mania. And too many parallels. That's going to be just a common criticism of the modern card state of affairs. And there's some missing wrestlers. So some of the wrestlers who appeared in some of the Panini cards from late 2024, like Julia, for example, are not featured in the Topps Chrome 2025 set. So I feel like they missed the boat on that. And as we said earlier, some of the photos seem like they were the very next shot from what they were from a previous set.